6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chuck Radowski, and I'm the Vice President of Finance and Administration at Lincoln University. I would like to welcome all of you here for this auspicious occasion of cutting the ribbon and opening up Azikiwe-Nkrumah Hall. Without further ado, let me introduce our President, Dr. Allen.
Good afternoon. How's everyone? What a wonderful day. So I want to start. When I was a freshman here in my humanities class, we had to write a research paper. And I decided to write my paper on the founding of Lincoln University. And in doing some of the research, I came across, either it was in Dr. Horace Mann Bond's book or something I read elsewhere, but it really described the early days of Lincoln, where this particular building was here. And as many of you know, there was a building next door, Lincoln Hall, that also had an Ashman Hall next to it. And what struck me as a freshman was just a vision I got in my head where it described how the men of Lincoln in the early days lived. Everything about Lincoln, the major edifice was next door. The library, the dining hall, everything was sort of housed in Lincoln Hall. Faculty lived in what is now Azikiwe-Nkrumah Hall. And it sort of described a place where during the day, these faculty members, mostly white guys from Princeton, would go over and teach their courses. And in the evening, they would retreat back to this place and close the doors. And this became their residence. And the students actually were the ones who actually ran campus and got everything done. So my earliest memory of this was like a no-touch zone for Lincoln students, although it was a significant part of the history. Fast forward to my years here, and for many of the people I see around here who were here around my same time, is always going to be police and security, right? This is where Captain Brian was with all those keys, and him and the other one guy we had that has now evolved into a full police force. But anyway, memories through the years. I mention that because when I got to Lincoln in 2017, this building was slated for demolition. It had gone through a lot of conversations through the board, and I want to acknowledge Ms. Carol Black, class of '67, who really put together the Lincoln University Heritage Initiative. They were really determined to make sure that we save this building. This building is a significant part of the Lincoln University history. And through their advocacy and reaching out to the Pennsylvania Preservation Society, they were able to come forward to me, and I just had this memory of, within the first month or so of me being president here, first meeting with the architects who were trying to show me this new building they had designed that did nothing to create the integrity of this part of our campus. It did nothing to pick up the historic significance. And then having a dinner that evening with Carol Black, and it was Johnny Craig and Darryl Braxton and a couple of other people. And what was so fundamental to me is that Carol showed me a poster of Ashman Institute. And that poster of Ashman Institute had Azikiwe-Nkrumah Hall as a part of it. And she just simply said to me, this is Lincoln University. And that was enough for me to go full blast behind making a decision to really work with Mr. Gradowski, to work with Ms. Komashak, to work with DGS, to try to change the trajectory of what was going to happen to this building, to really invest in it as a true historic restoration. And if you get a chance to walk around this building, first of all, you'll see this building underwent many renovations in the 100 plus years that it was here. So we changed some tile, we put in a glass door, we might have put up a partition, changed the floors, but we've never restored the building. This building has been restored. It has been fortified from a structural standpoint. Up until this restoration, the basement remained a dirt basement, right? We now have a place that's dry and healthy. You can even store stuff down there, which is great. But if you just walk around and look at the brick and the repointing, for me, the most interesting story about the repointing of this is that they actually went around in this area, found a building built during the same era, and was able to use that brick to replace bricks on this building. It was that kind of care and attention to whatever historical details they could pay attention to make sure that this continued to tell the long legacy and history of Lincoln University. And so it is a real honor to actually cut the ribbon on this building. I think that this is a celebration that's owed to the Lincoln University alumni. I think we all owe a gratitude, a thank you to the group put together by Ms. Black, the Lincoln University Heritage Initiative. They reached out to me as provost at Winston-Salem State and said, well, what would you do with old buildings? And I talked to them, Owen, about our whole idea of restoring the core, that your history is really in your buildings. And when you're fortunate enough to have buildings that are over 100 years old and have bones that are stronger than buildings you built just 50 years ago, you have an obligation to the legacy of your institution to make sure that you prepare that building to withstand the next 100 years. And so we are proud to say that this building has been fortified in every way. It has been repurposed. It is the home of advancement. We will welcome people who want to give money to us to a building that begins to tell the long and glorious history of Lincoln University. So thank you. It's a great occasion, and I turn it over to Chairman Bruce.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. And I think most of you know that I'm new as the chair of the board. And I just would like to say I would love every quarter when I come up here for a board meeting that we're cutting a ribbon or we're opening up something new that's going to build on the Lincoln legacy. I want to build on what Dr. Allen said. My history here was that this was security. So I never went in this building when I was on this campus. But in terms of our history, I think some of you know that my grandfather graduated from Lincoln in 1921. So that's 100 years ago. And so I always think about the historic aspects of Lincoln. But I also think, as does the rest of the board, think of our responsibility to ensure that 100 years from now, we have folks standing, perhaps here, making a similar statement, and in fact, having taken it to a whole nother level from where we are today. And so I think this is the rich history of Lincoln. I'll just make one other comment. I was fortunate enough when I was in Ghana about 4 or 5 years ago to visit the Azikiwe-Nkrumah Museum in Accra. And when I was there, knowing that he was a Lincoln grad and being very interested in all the things that he did around the organization of African unity and many other things, just to see what was in his museum, and frankly, where did Lincoln University play? What role did it play? And was it even in the museum? And I'm happy to say that it was. And for the Sigmas that are here, that was the first time I realized that he was, in fact, a Sigma, because they had a whole shrine. And I'm a Q, so. But what I will say to you is this. It's wonderful to see that regardless of which fraternity or sorority you may be in, you participate and have contributed to the rich history and legacy of Lincoln University the world over. And it was a wonderful, most prideful moment for me when I was standing there with a group of people who weren't from Lincoln to stand at that place where they talked about his experience at Lincoln University. So This is a very exciting occasion for me as a board chair, and as I said before, I certainly want to make sure that we build on this and that we will continue to build on what will be the Lincoln legacy after we've left this place. Before I close, I would like to say again, congratulations, Dr. Allen. Congratulations, Chuck. Chuck knows that I was always, as a member of the Business Affairs Committee, we talked a lot about our capital budget and Azikiwe and Dickey Hall and Azikiwe-Nkrumah Hall. Got to get it right. And, you know, it's just a wonderful thing to see that it has now become a reality. I was fortunate enough the last time I was here to take a tour through the building, and it's quite impressive, and I would invite all of you who can to make sure that you do tour the building. But again, thank you, congratulations to you. I also want to say congratulations and thank you to Carol Black and the Alumni Association for the amount of work that they've done here. So with that, I will turn it over to Owen Cooks.
Thank you, Chairman Bruce. My name is Owen Cooks. I'm the chair of the Buildings and Property Committee on the Board of Trustees. I bring greetings from them and welcome this afternoon. This is a great moment for the master plan for Lincoln. And I think it's only possible because of master plans and visions that must have been all along that kept this building where it was, and BRENDA kind of pulling it out of the fire there in the Alumni Association. You know, we're enjoying that rich inheritance of those visions from the past. And as we look at the course of our own master plan, and BRENDA referred earlier to a theme at another university where we were both at, Restore the Core. And that's having the respect and the foresight for the historic cores like we find ourselves on here today, that we can really reinvest in these buildings and continue to tell the story of their legacy. One of the main themes within our current master plan at Lincoln University is historic buildings tell the Lincoln story. And we have more to do, and we're very thankful for the Commonwealth for their financial support, Department of General Services for partnering with us to see this project through. And on my walkover from our previous ceremony at Dickey, there's lots of opportunity. I think Chairman Bruce referred to this being pretty busy. Every quarter we're going to be doing one of these. But we welcome and embrace that work. It certainly supports the master plan and the vision that we have for Lincoln. So thank you very much. And with that is Jayla Ross. No. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Onaje Cunningham. I'm stepping in for Jayla Ross. I serve as our President Pro Tempore, President Pro Tempore. I just would like to say on behalf of the entire student body, we are extremely excited for the opening of this building. You know, we are extremely, fortunate to be able to have this as a part of our Lincoln legacy, being a part of the cutting of the ribbon ceremony. So, we are really excited. We learned about Azikiwe-Nkrumah in our FYE and African American Experience classes. So just to know that Lincoln is making sure that we hold this tradition and really honoring his name is really important to us. So we are really excited and we look forward to this.
How y'all doing? My name is AMOUR Ali. I'm the president of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, MU Chapter. And Nnamdi Azikiwe, he arrived in the United States in 1925 and earned his bachelor's and master's degree from Lincoln University. He also earned a second master's degree from the University of Penn. Kwame Nkrumah, he arrived in the United States in 1935, where he began his time at Lincoln. Nkrumah's time in the United States exposed him to the hardships blacks in the country endured. He became keenly aware of the oppression meted out to blacks by white rulers, a situation eerily similar to colonial rule back home in his native hometown, Gulf Coast. Azikiwe was no exception. The urgency to return home and help the fight for independence was no doubt forged from rich discussions he had with black students who had a common foe in the continent and the United States. In 1934, he went back to the Gulf Coast, founding a nationalistic newspaper and mentoring Kwame Nkrumah before returning home to Nigeria in 1937. That's all I have. Y'all know what happens after that.
President and Chair, Mr. Cook, can you get those scissors for me back there? They're right behind that chair. Thank you. President and Chair, right in the middle. Okay, I need board members on the side as well as platform guests, just like the president and the chair. And I need those wonderful people who are going to work in this great building to come. I need you all to come on. Let's get behind us. If you're going to work in this building, I'd like you in this picture. And we can take more people over here. Okay, and sit much. Sit much.
All right, everyone, right here. All right, here we go.
That's a great shot. You guys did wonderful. And I'm so sorry. It's so damp that the scissors are problematic.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Yeah, Terrence. Yeah,
Count it off, Terrence.
Put that sign up.
I'm done.
Stop, man. He learned it, man. It was his baptism. Shaking out his skin. Right, I was trying to. He was scared to death. I told him that's what I was trying to do.